And she's changed. She's not the daughter I knew. My daughter was a much more giving, loving person than she is now.
So here's a question that's too uncomfortable for mainstream media to touch. What if Meghan Markle never gave birth to her children at all? And no, this isn't just wild internet gossip. It's a tangled web of interviews, inconsistencies, and direct claims from her own family members. Claims that, if true, could completely unravel the carefully maintained image of Meghan and Harry as royal parents. But before we get into the heart of it, if you're intrigued by these untold royal stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. We dig deeper than headlines, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Let's start at the source, Meghan's own father, Thomas Markle. In an on-record interview, he claimed that Meghan had her eggs frozen many years ago. Then came an even bigger twist. Her brother reportedly said she had a hysterectomy, a procedure that would make it biologically impossible for her to carry children, and that it all happened while she was still married to her first husband, Trevor Engelson. That was long before Harry ever entered the picture. If any of that holds truth, it flips the entire fairy tale narrative upside down. Now imagine this timeline: frozen eggs in storage, a supposed hysterectomy, then, years later, Meghan steps into the global spotlight with two young children, Archie and Lilibet. It sounds impossible, right? But things get even messier when you follow the money trail. According to several sources, storing frozen eggs long-term can cost between $8,000 to $9,000 per month. At the time, Meghan was a relatively unknown actress on the show Suits, earning around $7,000 per episode, and even then, she wasn't. In every episode. Across 108 episodes, her total screen time adds up to only about 138 minutes. That's barely enough for a spotlight, let alone Hollywood-level paychecks. So how does someone with limited funds maintain expensive fertility preservation? That's where the doubts really start growing. If Meghan lost access to those eggs due to cost, had a hysterectomy, and still went on to have children, the math just doesn't add up. That's not hate, that's observation. Cold, factual, questioning. And it didn't come from anonymous online trolls. It came from her own family. But wait, there's more. A whole wave of rumors started swirling again recently when critics began examining Meghan's public appearances. The way she carries herself with the children, or rather, the way she doesn't. For a mother of two, there's surprisingly little public affection. No viral clips of hugs, kisses, or even messy mom moments. Everything looks polished. Too polished. Curated. Like a press release disguised as a family moment. And then came the Disneyland incident. A little girl seen with Meghan one day didn't. Look like the same one seen the next. Different facial features, different height, different energy. Viewers started asking a chilling question. Are they even showing the same child in every appearance? Could stand-ins be involved? Now here's where the theories start to explode. And they're not as crazy as you might think. Remember that now infamous clip of Meghan in what appeared to be a hospital room, dancing while heavily pregnant? That moment sparked international buzz, not because of the dance, but because of the belly. Viewers claimed it looked artificial, as if it shifted and folded in ways that no real pregnant belly would. And let's not forget, this was during the strictest lockdown phase of the pandemic. Maternity wards were closed to the public. Filming in hospitals was practically forbidden. So how did she manage to shoot this footage? And why? People slowed the clip down frame by frame. They zoomed in. And what they found wasn't a natural movement. It looked like foam padding, a moon bump, as critics called it. And if true, it wouldn't just be deceptive. It could border on something far worse, a betrayal of public trust. And yet, the mainstream media stays silent. Royal commentators deflect, and the palace, they've never issued a formal denial, even as theories rage on. Meghan's defenders chalk it all up to privacy, claiming, she's simply shielding her kids from the public eye. But there's a difference between keeping your children private and staging photo ops that feel more like branding campaigns than family moments. Let's keep going, because we're just scratching the surface. Let's talk about the body language, because it says more than any royal press release ever could. In every public appearance involving the children, Meghan's posture seems awkward, distant. In one clip, she holds a child stiffly, avoiding eye contact, like she's never cradled a toddler in her life. There's no natural maternal instinct visible, no gentle caress, no soothing gestures, no shared warmth. It feels off, as if she's going through the motions. And people notice. It's not hate, it's pattern recognition. When you compare her with other royal moms, even Kate Middleton or Princess Diana, you see a stark contrast. Diana was endlessly affectionate, often photographed cuddling or comforting William and Harry. Kate is regularly seen crouching to meet her children at eye level, touching their hands, brushing their hair, whispering comfort. Meghan? Her moments feel staged, cold, almost performative, and still, her father and brother's statements linger in the background like ghosts. She had her eggs frozen. She had a hysterectomy. These are not throwaway comments. These are bombshells, casually dropped and largely ignored. Why hasn't Meghan addressed them? Why hasn't the press pressed harder for clarity? It gets even stranger when you look at the official records. At one point, it was reported that Meghan had her royal title removed from her children's birth certificate, then added back in later. That's not standard procedure. In fact, in the US, royal titles aren't even supposed to be used on legal documents. And yet, Archie and Lilibet's paperwork allegedly included them. According to insiders, even immigration officials were confused. So much so that they reportedly reached out to King Charles himself for clarification. That doesn't happen unless there's something deeply off in the system. But no one addressed it publicly. It was swept under the rug, just like everything else. And let's not forget Harry's role in all this. He's not just a passive figure. He's deeply involved, smiling for cameras, supporting the story, and even fighting for HRH titles for the kids. It stirred serious controversy behind palace walls, especially since Queen Elizabeth had reportedly made it clear that royals who step back from duties wouldn't get those privileges. But Charles, under pressure, allegedly caved. He handed out those titles like they were participation trophies, a move many royalists saw as betrayal. The man who was supposed to modernize the monarchy was now bending rules to protect a narrative that many believe is built on shaky ground. And here's the question that no one dares to ask. Why would Meghan go through such extreme measures? In the first place, the answer might be simpler than we think. Power, branding, long-term influence. By having children with HRH titles, Meghan secures her legacy, not as a Hollywood actress or podcast host, but as the mother of royals. That's a position no Netflix show or book deal can replicate. It embeds her into history permanently. It makes her untouchable, but only if people believe the story. Because once doubt creeps in about the pregnancies, the authenticity of the children, the documents, everything begins to crumble. And the cracks are showing faster than ever, and the timing of it all? Too perfect to be coincidence. Let's talk timing. Because when public pressure began building, when people started whispering about the fake baby bumps and the identity of the children, Meghan released something else, a viral video. Not just any video, a bizarre, almost surreal clip of her dancing, or rather awkwardly twerking, while supposedly heavily pregnant, in what looked like a hospital room. During lockdown, during a time when hospitals around the world were closed to visitors, especially camera crews. People weren't just confused, they were outraged. They slowed the footage, analyzed her movements, and fixated on the midsection. Because her pregnant belly, the supposed baby bump, moved in unnatural ways. It folded when she bent, it deflated when she twisted, and at one point, it shifted so much, viewers were convinced it wasn't real, just foam. A moon bump, critics said, a term now permanently attached to Meghan's name online. The theory? The video was a distraction, released to cause a stir, just enough of one to drown out the real questions people were asking. And it worked. The internet went wild over the cringe factor, the humor, the embarrassment, but in doing so, it stopped talking about the deeper issue, the children. It's a classic PR move. When people start asking uncomfortable questions, you flood the narrative with noise, drama, viral moments, anything to pull attention away from what really matters. But there's a problem. People have long memories, especially when inconsistencies pile up. Every public photo of the children seems more curated than the last. There are no spontaneous moments, no glimpses of real life, just perfectly lit, professionally shot images, released on birthdays, anniversaries, or during charitable campaigns. It doesn't feel like a family, It feels like a brand, and in the rare moments they do appear in public, like during a walk or visit to a venue, there's always someone nearby, a handler, an assistant, watching closely, managing the interaction, making sure the child doesn't wander too far, or say too much, or break the illusion. It's subtle, but it's there. And viewers have started noticing they're comparing facial features, looking at height discrepancies, matching eye shapes, and sometimes it doesn't match. The same. Child looks oddly different within days. Hair texture changes, facial structure shifts. Are we seeing the same kids? Or something else entirely? That's the question nobody wants to ask. But it's the one everyone is thinking. If these children aren't biologically Meghan's, if they were born by a surrogate or not born to her at all, then the deception isn't just personal. It's public. It affects public perception, royal legacy, and the very narrative the Sussexes have built their entire brand around. It turns privacy into manipulation. It transforms a love story into a PR strategy, and it raises one final question. If everything's above board, if everything is truthful and legitimate, why the secrecy? Because let's be honest, if Meghan truly gave birth to Archie and Lilibet, if there's nothing to hide, then why hasn't she put the rumors to rest? A single candid photo, a casual moment in a hospital, a comment from a nurse. That's all it would take. Instead, what we get are staged photo ops, changing timelines, edited documents, and radio silence from the very institutions that should have the answers. Even the royal family, typically the first to quash scandal when it threatens the crown, has said nothing. No confirmation, no denial, no clarity, just uncomfortable, deafening silence. And silence in this case isn't neutrality. It's complicity. It's what allows speculation to thrive. It's what fans the flames. And the palace, by choosing to stay out of it, has indirectly allowed Meghan and Harry to continue a public performance, one that's allegedly built on borrowed titles, questionable children's documents, and a mountain of unanswered questions. Then there's the monarchy's official website, still listing Meghan as Duchess of Sussex, still showcasing Harry's speeches about family, loyalty, and truth. Still pretending everything is normal, while the public peels back layer after layer of what increasingly looks like a carefully curated illusion. And here's the truth that cuts deeper than any online headline. This isn't just about Meghan. It's about Harry, too. He's not an innocent husband caught in the whirlwind. He's a co-author of this story, a partner in this image, a man who once denounced the press, now weaponizes it. One moment, he sues journalists for invading his privacy. The next, he invites Netflix crews into his home. One moment, he condemns tabloid narratives. The next, he's spinning his own. You can't have it both ways. You can't ask the world to believe in your vulnerability while keeping your truth locked behind staged moments and royal titles. And now the public is starting to wake up. People are comparing timelines, examining video frames, matching up every public appearance, every document, every photo release, and the cracks are becoming too obvious to ignore. This could be one of the most elaborate PR constructions in modern royal history. And if it is, it didn't happen in a vacuum. It happened with the help of palace silence, media complicity, and a public too enchanted to ask the hard questions. But that's changing fast, because this isn't just a conspiracy theory anymore. It's a growing suspicion shared by people across the globe, viewers, researchers, royal watchers, and even former supporters, all asking the same question. If these kids aren't biologically hers, and if the palace knows that, then why is everyone pretending it's all normal? That's the question that could rewrite the legacy of Meghan Markle, and of the royal family itself. So what do you think? Are we witnessing the slow unraveling of a royal illusion? Or is this just another example of how good PR can bury uncomfortable truths? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more no-fluff, deep dive exposés like this one, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because next time, we're going even deeper. The truth is out there, and it's only getting harder to ignore.